You are the station officer in charge of the station. Some of the department training is computer-based, and the personnel are required to complete the training on their own, utilizing the department's computers.
Guys, don't forget to finish your computer training for this month.
Oh yeah, the other day at Station 5, they had access to all department files.
Really?
Hey guys, come check this out. You're not gonna believe it. Hey Cap, check this out. We can see everyone's personnel file.
All right, so now we got some computer issues.
Imagine that.
In this situation, what will help other officers is we like to use mnemonic. I like to use mnemonic ATIP, A-T-I-P, that was undermined in this situation. A for accountability, T for trust, I for integrity, and P for being proud and proactive. All these were done, and the P for proactive, they need to advise headquarters that this is going on. What happened initially, when she opened it up, she thought it was fun, invited others to now look. It's personal file, not public file. So all these ATIP with accountability, integrity, P for proactive needs to be addressed, because that's the core value that all of us must have, because that's what makes us what we are. That's why the community trusts us. That's why we trust each other. Once that breach has been broken, it's hard to get it back.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, this one to me is very simple. There's not a whole lot of complexity to this one. The company officer needs to step in immediately and ensure that the computer is shut down. Needs to notify headquarters that there's a breach in the security, that, you know, not only are firefighters looking at it, but who knows at this point who's looking at the material that is supposed to be protected. And, you know, as a firefighter, as a company officer, as a chief officer, you would want people's personal information protected. It's now goes to a legal issue, because there's only so many people who are legally allowed to view our personnel records, and quite honestly, that's the way I would want it for myself and all my members. That it has gotten out, and it's obviously public knowledge throughout the department. They're talking about it being at Station 5 and now everywhere else.
Right, you don't think that phone's not going to ring to each station?
Sure, and everybody's watching now, and probably most of us have had experience, you know, for whatever reasons, where our emails get stopped because of fire runs that are high profile or whatever. They can go back and look at all your emails, all the websites you look at. The last thing in your world you want is your members' personnel records violated, whatever violated, but in this instance, personnel records. And quite honestly, do we want that out in the public view, that's the kind of ship that we're running? So I would address it immediately. Doesn't think there's any wrongdoing here, but it needs to be stopped and it needs to be fixed.
The officer is duty bound to notify headquarters, because it's not only everybody else's, but it's yours, and it's every member of that department who expects those records to be confidential inside the department. Whether you've had a problem, whether you've had anything going on, those records are there. Could be medical records, could be everything else. You are duty bound to notify headquarters to get that problem fixed. And the other thing that you have to think about is most of our department's computers are linked through a central server in headquarters. They're gonna know what companies went on, who looked at it, what shift. So that accountability is coming back on you, as you addressed, Dan. That accountability is coming back to you as the company officer on Engine 1, Shift B. They're saying, holy mackerel, they spent 8 hours going through everybody in the department's personnel records. What were they thinking? Who's the officer there? And if they look at me, they look at you, they're going to say, what were you doing? Mm-hmm. And if you weren't doing anything, you're wrong.
Computers are more and more taking over the society. So something like this is not uncommon at all. I have a friend that works in a department that I believe it was their payroll and everyone's social security numbers were taken. And credit cards were open. Everyone had now problems with their credit, all fraud. So this becomes a huge issue. As for the firefighter that was looking at the personnel files, at the moment she probably did not realize what she was doing, how legally wrong she was in. But as the officer, her stepping in and getting up right away to halt the process was the right thing to do.
Well, and then the one follow-on would be, you're also, I believe, duty-bound as an officer to make a recommendation that we notify the whole department that it wasn't our fault, a breach happened in the system, just be advised, your records may have been accessed, we're fixing the process. Otherwise, it builds like a wildfire. They learn about it secondhand, thirdhand, and the story is now 180 degrees from what initially was just, a mistake that happened.
Right. And you're transparent. You were the first.
You diffuse it.
Diffused
right?
it.
Diffuse it. All right. Very good.